All right, let's get started. So basically, the today webinar that you will be joining, so it will take about an hour time. So we'll be mainly focused on Docusign integrations with a SharePoint. So whereby we'll take an hour time, and whereby our presenter will be me, myself, Patrick, and also Robin is on the line. So we'll be going through all the why is it you will need an electronic signature in a business today. So actually, I believe that every company has a system of agreement, whether they know it or not. So how many of you will be agree with this? Whether is that a system for now in your current process? So most likely yes. So how's the process like? So system could be done it manually as well. So whereby if you come to the prepare, so it break down into 4 stages. Once it's a prepare, then after that you get the documents to be print out and signed, and how you're going to act on it to just key in into your record and all these things. Then after that you just manually do the filings and then keep it into the management rack, and how you're going to manage it. So when it comes to the system, right? So it will be looking into more in depth. Is like how when come to a prepare is you are going through a manually preparing and collaborating to done the agreements. And the next thing is when come to a signing, you will probably routing to a few persons to just get the documents to be signed off by physically face-to-face kind of a signing. And when come to the act, is basically is like you have to entering the info from a signed agreement, and then you just have to move it to another system. So this is how you usually update the keep the documentations to be updated. And after that, come to the manage is basically you have to file it properly and also keep it in the rack. And how you're going to manage it by you have to search it after a time of a period. Then probably that could be quite tedious in the way that you have to search the document very manually by checking the all the alphabeticals. These are the things that you will be going through. So not to deny that there is a system. And come to why is it legacy signing process, and what's wrong with that, and it basically causing the turnaround time is slower compared to if you move it to electronic signatures with a digital system, and whereby come to a productivity wise it's definitely also slow down and causing some of the loss in the this whole productivity wise. And in terms of costing will definitely cost you in average about $36 per agreement. That's definitely incur with those logistic costs, printing costs, and so on. So those are the things that will be an indirect costing come to agreements. So it costs you quite expensive. And whereby I'll show you later on how we can basically eliminating all these causes and how we're going to bring up the productivity. So in the real world business challenge, so it's basically that you will see these are the common one that you will be facing, and a courier cost is definitely can be avoided, and you will need to route it to depending how many persons that require to sign. So it cost you another thing, and also the contract of the turnaround time, and it also take a time that you want to just do it, probably a couple of days or a couple of weeks that to take you to complete the whole documents to be signed off. And of course that human will be in the way if you do it manually, and it could be a wrongly filled or any kind of signing errors could be happen, and you have to reprint and redo again. So that's all will be causing a low productivity. And whereby if let's say you are talking about compliance standards, so definitely with today technologies that electronic signatures able to meet with the compliances that you require as like what's your manual process right now, and instead of like using a handwriting, and it could be use it a digital workflow, and together with the audit trail at the back end to keep track on the documents accuracy. So these are things, and to the external probably will be a customer experience, and you will basically will show a different kind of approach to your customers or your supplier. So because they'll be dealing through email, and these are things that could be enhanced in the customer experience for external party. And come to the use cases, right? So there are some example here. So it's like we have more than 1,500 of the use cases or documents is showing here, and basically is like involving the whole company operations, and whereby we will look into like sales, marketing, service department, human resource, finance, and IT, legal, facilities, product management, procurement. So these are the, I think, is a core of the departments that will be running the operations day to day, and they'll probably come a lot with documentations. And just let's look at the sales, and probably you will look into some sales order or certain commercial agreements or some kind of like a partnership of the agreement. Or these are the things that you can be done through electronic signatures today. And if let's say you are looking for like, just example, if you're looking at legal, so legal also you can basically practice in the NDA by using a digital platform, and contract managements and board minutes, and those are the important documents that you can done it through electronic signature. So without like handling it into so many kind of a manual process, and you have to going through a lead time that will be probably slow down the cycle. And if let's say today you are IT persons, and definitely you have those IT support forms and those change requests and prerequisitions, and those are things also can be done it like through either applications or electronic signature could help. Yep. And some procurement process that you will be looking into. Yeah, so these are things that probably right now your system could do up to maybe just to get the documents to be generated. But then when come to the end of the process, that you still have to print and sign and basically pass it to the signer to basically sign it off manually. So today with Docusign that we will basically provide you end-to-end process once after generated the documents and until the signing of the documents. So I just move to for the today's topic, which is we're going to present to you is a Docusign. And Docusign is basically companies that have been established for more than 15 years, and they are also a listed IPO listed companies in US. And these are some of the background of the Docusign, and they've been serving a lot of big companies in globally. So, and they have a lot of investor, and in terms of like a financial investor and some technology partner, they've been working closely with like Google, Microsoft, SAP, Salesforce. Those are collaborating partners together with Docusign. Yep. And even Docusign, they have also a team that under Asia Pacific based in Singapore, whereby it will be our China principals, which we work closely with them from they are taking care of Malaysia. So this thing that the in terms of support is definitely SRKK and Docusign is working very close. And let's look at what is e-signatures today. And basically, I have a questions whether how many of you have experience of using any of the e-signatures. So my colleague will share a polling into the chats, and feel free to do so. And basically e-signatures that bring you is like give you a send and sign agreement virtually, and you can basically just access from anywhere that with any devices, that because it will be sent it through your emails that and just through a routing of a workflow at the back end, and in order to send it back to the company. So this is usually how it been done. And of course, if come to the electronic signatures, you'll require a very comprehensive audit trail whereby Docusign will provide to you, as well as also there's also a supporting document, which is a certificate of a completion, will be as a supporting to show you the whole audit trail into the whole process during sign of the documents. And these are things that important when you come to a legality issues that you need to provide all this supporting. And when it comes to the automated workflow, so basically a DocuSign have a very robust integrations with more than 350 of a preview kind of connector in order to integrate with your local system or even your local platforms, software as a service. So all this can be integrated seamlessly into your local system. And in terms of like trusted and also the trust and also those availability is definitely DocuSign is practice a very committed a team on in terms of this to deliver to the customers. So and they even like have all those compliance and data protections at the whole company's system, and that's why they're able to give a reliable service. AD with your single sign-on. So those are the things to keep the security of your user's account. And of course, with this DocuSign, also it provide you about send. So just like a example of the scenario that you need to blast out a memo, or you want to blast out maybe a forms for the employees to sign off. So you can always do so by creating a template and then you send it in about. So that's on the about send, and it is responsive. It can be work in a mobile or it can work on the web-based browsers. And you could even like in the middle of the signings that you could able to give a comment, and you could able to do the amendment immediately at the real time. So those are the advantage that you are going through e-signatures. And there is also a power form service whereby it's like you can creating a standard template and keep it in your, you can save it in your website or extranet or the intranets. So for the users to access by through a URL that you can publish it. And even that you can even embed with this DocuSign in your either website or even the applications via API build. So Docusign provide you a support on this API build. So in order to integrate with your current system or the current websites that you have. And even that, I believe this is a comments that most of us have faced, most of us have experienced it, is in-person signing, whereby just like a courier service that you receive, and there will be a device for you to sign off. That's the in-person signing. Is even DocuSign have a number of express companies been using it, and this in-person signing and offline signing on the mobile devices. That's one of the things, and mobile document scanning and payment captures and legal and secure auditable. So basically, important thing is that the audit trail at the back end that will be generating out the reports that you're able to keep track on each and every actions that the recipients or the users been done it on the documents. So it's a bit unlike like if you're going through a manual process whereby you couldn't capture on those backlog, and how you're going to like keep trace back any fraud cases or any kind of illegal things that come in. So with this, probably it will be covered more comprehensively. And this is basically what a DocuSign Agreement Cloud that enables to enables in your business. And with this, you were able to do your business faster. It's more about the how's the turnaround times that you take about 82% of the agreement completed in a day. So comparing that, probably usually you would take about a week or a couple of days to complete it. So in a day that you could complete more than that, and it will reduce the errors. So because there's a real time of call orderings and also like interactions in the real time, And this is basically to reduce the errors. And productivity wise will be definitely shoot up because of all the turnaround time and also the feasibilities of these solutions. And of course you will have a really a good review, and also customer experience will be totally different if you move into electronic signatures. All right, so just come to this what's the values that DocuSign always bring it to the customers. And I will basically break it down into three categories that comprehensively is like easily to deploy, and at the same time that you could integrate with your internet applications. So without like handling so many different platforms. So with today that you could able to even build an API, or if let's say you are using a SAP or Salesforce, so that's a good news for you, is that DocuSign can integrate directly to the applications. And if let's say you are using a Office 365 or probably a G Suite, so it can also integrate directly to your drive, your cloud drive or cloud storage. So these are the comprehensively, and yeah, this, and they have a lot of success use cases been done. And come to innovative is more on the tracking of the records. So these are basically that they've been built for the system, and they've been keep on enhancing, and a lot of enterprises been using it. And these are things that they keep on innovating their business and the solutions to be a stronger. And sorry. So the trusted is basically there are a lot of customers been using it in globally. So later I'll show you some reference at the end of the sessions, and these are basically some of the return of investments that they found out from the companies been adopting the e-signatures from them. Yeah. All right, so come to this legality wise. So I believe when it comes to any signings documents, that probably there will be involved certain agreements or like certain terms and conditions that are required. So legality is important. Yes, I agree. And basically in Malaysia, so they have basically recognized it since 1997. So under the Act of the Electronic Commerce Act. So this is basically they've been accepted. And just to show you that in terms of like called the admissible. So basically DocuSign, yes, is a platform whereby it really can supporting you throughout the if there's a court case or any legal issues that incur. So it is definitely there with all the supporting back end log and able to trace it back from the records. And general business use case is definitely yes. So even that you want to practice internally for your sales, for your procurement, and those are things that you can just by just leveraging on this DocuSign in order to process the document even faster. And come to e-signatures of legal model. So in Malaysia, basically is considered a tier country. So this is what's the term that they use. And tier country is basically they recognize qualified electronic signatures. So whereby in Malaysia is definitely they are practicing this, and DocuSign is.
So my portion is to show the integration portion of how DocuSign can integrate nicely with SharePoint Online. Of course, us being that we have O365 subscription, we do have SharePoint already. So let me go to the integration portion, and later on I will describe a little bit about what are the functionality of SharePoint, what is the SharePoint role in this particular DocuSign processor, right? So here, as you can see on my screen, is the DocuSign button, right? Within this particular portal, which is SharePoint. The next slide, I will touch a little bit about on SharePoint side, but here I would like to highlight that DocuSign functionality is embedded right into SharePoint. as you can see here, is part of their drop-down list. And of course, you have to install it as a third-party plugin. Then once you have installed it, it is very nicely listed in your document library. Because when we talk about signature, we are looking at documents, right? So in this particular case, SharePoint as a document library repository system where you store all your documents in SharePoint. So from the Docusign side, you have a few options. One is go to Docusign. Of course, that means it integrates to the Docusign website. When you click it, it will open up Docusign. You can get signature, means that once you select document from your repository, from your list of documents, after you highlight documents that you want to sign, all you have to do is click get signature, right? Next is sign, use as a template, and check status. Those are the various other functionality that you can have. If we have time today, we can go over it. If not, maybe another section. So this is SharePoint capabilities in Docusign more as a document repository. All right. As you can see here is web browser. Being a web browser, you can access it anywhere, any place that you want. You are not limited to Office alone. You can do it on the road. You can do it at home. Any place that you have internet accessibility. Yeah. So I would like to spend just a few minutes on this slide. If you can take a look on the left-hand side first. So you have a navigation, right? Navigation, SharePoint as being part of your total intranet solution. That's the document navigation. So when you click document, that's where you store all your documents, your company documents, right? Of course, you can segment it down based on departments. A lot of people do that. Finance department site, we have their own documents. Legal department, we have their own documents, and so forth. In this particular case, as you can see, it's a linked document. Once the user clicks it, if you can see on the middle part, that is the content where you store all your documents. And that's where at the top part is the navigation, what you can do with those documents. So give me a few minutes just to explain that SharePoint being a document repository is an enterprise level document management. Enterprise means that it has all the functionality and features. For example, each of the documents, of course, you can open it here in the browser view, or you can download and open it as a desktop view. It's up to you. You can share those documents, easily available. You can share among your whole company, or you can even share to outside people for collaboration purposes. In some cases, company might want to restrict the sharing just for internal use. Yes, can be done. You can copy the link again. Being in the cloud, what Microsoft best practice is, let's say your document is 20 meg, right? Nowadays, the trend is moving towards sending a link to that document rather than attachment. Just one step drawback a little bit. Let's say you're sending an email, right? You drop an email. Right now, nowadays, we are so familiar with attach a document, right? If it's a small size document, fine, great. But as the document gets bigger, that's where Microsoft proposed to have sending the link to the document rather than the actual document itself. There's a copy a link. Of course, you can download as being any repository, document repository, you can download it, right? Then next, you can delete, pin. These are some of the various functionality. Some of the highlight that I want to move on is on the middle part. If you can take a look, you can have flow, automation, right? And this is where it's nicely gel with the Docusign e-signature. So the scenario that I'm going to propose later is, yes, SharePoint will be our document repository where we're going to do collaboration. means like we're going to have multiple people to edit the same document. So once we finalize the document, then we will go through the e-signature processes, right? That's flow. Of course, you can have versioning history on the document. So the versioning history means like who has updated that particular document, right? Document in SharePoint, it can be as simple as just a document title, right? It can be more complicated. Like a document, you can attach indexes. In SharePoint, what we call tagging. We can tag those documents, which department it belongs to, right? What type of document that document belongs. So imagine like you have a lot of indexes for your document. Then later on, if you want to search, it becomes so much easier to search. Let's say I want all documents that have index of legal, right? Immediately I can search it. So much easier. Flow, download. On your right hand side is pretty much a little bit of a preview of those documents. So I wouldn't go too much into those. Next slide. So co-authoring. So later on, part of the demo, we will showcase co-authoring, how using co-authoring can really speed up our documents to prepare those documents, right? And also after that, we can easily, through Docusign integration, we can push out those documents after it's being already collaborate, push out for the right people to sign. Now, pushing out means like it can be your internal different departments for signature. It can also be external people, right? Versioning is a very important to keep track of your document processes. So now I'm going to go for the demo, but allows me to highlight what is the demo about. So the scenario here is contract department. I'm from legal department, right? Robin is from legal department. And I need to send out contract for approval. So the process, the conventional process is first, I need to draft that document, right? After I draft it, I need to send maybe to my colleague for my colleague to edit, my senior colleague, right? And after that, then it will go through my boss. As you can see here, the persona is we will have my boss as a user one. She is the head of legal department. She is going to approve my final contract. But before that, on the staff level, me, Robin, and Patrick is going to collaborate on a new particular contract, and in this case, it's an SDA, right? So we are going to collaborate. So why do we do that? Again, we want to automate the processes. And again, after we have collaborated, after our departments approve that particular document, we will use the digital signature, push it out to our client, and they can sign it and return back, right? Why? Because it speeds up the contract activities. It reduces the manual processes, right? It creates a centralized portal to keep all your contract documents. So this is why once our clients sign it, all those signed documents automatically save back to our SharePoint document repository, right? Digitize, automate document processes, of course, approval and sign to mobile or web. This is earlier what Patrick said. You can also have the signature using your phone as well, right? So you are not tied down with desktop or notebook, right? You can use your mobile phone. You can use tablet to do the signature for your client side. And lastly, the legal binding, like what Patrick mentioned, is very critical. Whatever that you sign, DocuSign do have all the various measures to prove that this document is legally binding. Of course, one earlier one was very straightforward. Our government approved it, our legal entity, right? So I will show you what are the various clauses later on, samples that show these are the ways that it is proven for this particular e-signature is valid. And last one, authentication for document access, which is great. So Again, scenario is a contract document needs to be approved first. That's one, first phase. And after it is approved, then it is digitally signed by the receiver. That's the second phase. All right. And the persona is I will have my legal department, user one, to approve it. And of course, I have Robin and Patrick to first to draft up the document to finalize it before we push it to our legal department, to our head, the user one. And all this is done through the backend processes of Microsoft Flow. Okay, good. So let me first, I'm going to open up a document that I will collaborate with Patrick, right? So, and this is our contract draft sections, right? All our documents before it goes for approval will come to here first. So in this case, we have one document for Abu. It's an NDA, right? So right now I'm going in, open up that document. Again, you notice it's Word document, right? So why Word document? Because in Word document, you can do editing together. So, and you can see Patrick is in already. So we are doing it live, right? Again, Word document, there's so many features that you can use for collaboration. Example, comment, right? Let's say this particular section, I need Patrick to review, right? I can easily mention Patrick. Or I can easily mention another colleague for them to review this particular document. You see the section, fine. But since Patrick is in here, of course, he can make changes right away. So this is how our first stage collaborate with each other. Of course, right now you see is 2%. You can have multiple people doing it together within one document. Then let's say we have completed all the documents and we agreed on the collaboration portion. It is done already. So the next thing, I want to send this document for approval to my boss, which is user one. So how I would do that is I would send this document to another folder. Let me open up that folder. And this folder is what I call contract. Means I'm going to drop that document to this folder. And once the document appears here, that's where the flow comes in, the automation comes in that we will route this document for my boss to approve. So let's do that. So this is the finalized document that me and Patrick created. So now, after further discussion, I'm going to send it to the contract folder. Very good. So what happened is that in my contract folder, the documents will appear here, which is great, right? And at the same time, the workflow already started. So my boss, user one, I'm going to open up another browser, which I already did, user one, right? My boss will receive notification via email that there is a document that needs to be reviewed and approved. Yeah. So normally it takes a few minutes, right? Sometimes faster. What happens is that the flow will send back to Microsoft site and it will put as a queue, right? Depending how many workflows that you have, then once it reaches your queue, it will send out to the right person. In this case, it is user one. Yeah. Sometimes it is a little bit slower. refresh. Okay, so while waiting, what we have done so far is me and Patrick collaborate a document, finalize the NDA agreement for Abu, right? And after we have completed the document, we drop it in a contract folder. So once this document is saved here, then the automation kickstart. The approval processes will be started. So in this case, it will send an email to my supervisor, which is user one via email, and she should be able to receive it up soon, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit more than 1-2 minutes. So never mind. While waiting, as you can see, this is what normally she would see, right? These are my testing earlier. So once my HOD receive it, they will be able to receive an email, a request for approval. Yep. And then from the email side, she will be able to first a link to the document. She can review the document, make changes if needed, right? And then she can approve directly from the email side. Yeah. Okay. So while waiting for this phase, let's go back to SharePoint document library side. Good. So let's imagine that this document is already approved, right? So that document will be listed out here in the approved document. Yeah. So from the approved document, that's where I'm going to initiate the signing process because my boss is already approved it. Now the next step is for me to push out to my client and have them to sign it, right? So let's imagine that I'll just select one of these documents, right? This document is already approved by my boss because it appears here. Of course, I also receive notifications that my boss approved it. So now I need to send it out for signature. So again, great integration. I can easily go into that document. I can check if there's any remark from my boss. Again, from here, there should be a lot of remarks from my boss. After checking, confirm, make changes, I can easily, again, from this screen, send it out to the signer, which is great. So this is what I'm going to do. Go to Docusign and then send it out. What happened right now is that this document is using the Docusign site. As you can see, it attached to Docusign services processes. And the next screen will ask me who do I want to send to. Yeah. So very straightforward. The document automatically push up to Docusign site. Docusign has the valid document as you can see here. Of course, if you have more documents to be signed at the same time, and you can upload more documents. Yeah, it's up to you. Now, I need to specify who I want the person to sign, right? In this case, let's say I want to send it to Robin, of course, with a different email. For this NDA, I will need Robin to sign. Maybe I also need another person to sign. I need 2 people to sign. In this case, I will use Patrick. And again, you can see one I'm sending to a business email. Another one I'm sending to Gmail. So it doesn't matter who the signer is. It can be internal, it can be external, right? And the best part also, I can suggest the flow of the signing. In this case, I'm the sender, right? I initiated this NDA needs to be signed in parallel by Robin and by Patrick, right? Or I can also say that example, right? This document needs to be signed first by Robin. after Robin signed already, if Robin approve it, sign it, then this document will go to the second approver, which is Patrick. Great, which is fine. And after that, the document is completed. So let's say I want this particular signing model. Great, I will use that. Other thing that you can do, right? What Docusign has is that you can add authentication for security purposes, right? Let's say I send it to Robin. I don't want somebody snooping on Robin's email. I can set an access authentication, an access code that will be sent to Robin via another communication method, right? I can also do a private messages if I want to. Let's say I don't want all of that. The body email is very standard. Let's say, dear sir, please sign the document. Yes, very good. Now, great. I have the document. I have who I want to send. Now I need to specify where they need to send it. Where they need to sign it. So again, pulling out the document, of course, I would scroll all the way down to the signing section. And right now, as you can see, Robin, right? Robin as a signer. I want Robin to sign on the left side. Great. I want Robin to have, of course, the name as well. Name will be automatically pushed in because Robin's name already is in there. And definitely, I need the date sign. Right. So this is Robin. Since I have two signatures, now for Patrick, I want Patrick to sign over here on the right-hand side. Date sign again, plus the name. Plus, in addition, I want Patrick to have additional more information, right? To approve or to decline. Again, it's up to you. What are the scenarios that you need those approve decline buttons? And of course, remarks, you can easily add more text if you want to, right? So Patrick can fill in remarks in the text form. And that's it. For the e-signature, it's as simple as that. You fill in the user that you want. Of course, with the right documents, you fill in where they need to sign, and then you just click send. What happened in the background is that an email is being sent out to Robin and to Patrick. So let me check my email inbox. So the signer will receive via email, which is great. So in this case, it's my SLTK email. So this is what the signer will receive, a review document by whom, right? Then I click on review document. And straight away, me as a signer, right, I can see that document right away. Please review the document. If I agree, I will continue. So again, this clause is quite important. You can customize it. This is more for legality. Like some people say like, oh, I don't want to sign your document. Can. Those people can opt to other things, right? To decline to sign. Can. But once you click continue, you already acknowledge that, yes, this is an e-signature document and you acknowledge its credibility. Again, I need to read through everything. And if I don't want to read it, I can straight away click on start, which will skip me directly to the sections that I need to engage with, right? So again, a few things. You can see my name is here, Robin, and then the date timestamp of today's date, right? But I couldn't see Patrick's one. Again, remember the signing order is I sign first and next is Patrick. So I wouldn't know who is next, right? But Patrick would know who signed it before. So again, this is depends on your routing side. It is for the security measure. So signature is very straightforward. Once you click it, right, it will give you a standard signature based on your name. And of course, you can change it if you would like to add more signature. You can do a hand draw if you want to. This is very useful if you are using mobile phone where touchscreen is the way to go, or you use tablet, you can really do very nice signature. So again, a few options that you can do that. Yeah. And once you are done, me as a signer, I acknowledge this e-signature, I sign it, and I click finish. That's how easy it is for the signer to do, right? We first receive via email, then open that document, and lastly sign it, right? Okay. So what happens next is this document will route to Patrick, right? And Patrick will sign it, and then and of course I can easily open up that document if I want to, right? And also if I want to see the history of this document, as you can see, all the relevant information is listed down here, right? As well as earlier what we said, the view certificate itself, the COC. Now, all of this ultimately will go back, save back to SharePoint with your document repository site in the approved document. Yeah, it will save in this particular folder automatically. Yeah, great. So from here, from SharePoint side, you initiate the documents. You have the first phase, you did the approval. Before that, of course, you can collaborate together. Then you send for approval to your HOD automatically. And after that, you send.
Thank you for the interesting demo by Robbins. So that's basically how of course, due to a time constraint that we could able to do it a very quick demo. So if let's say you are interested that we can conduct a sessions for you later on, and we will have a separate discussions on these some of use cases that you will face. And these are the things that we can look into. So we just want to show you some of the basic kind of features that the Docusign will provide to you. And besides of this SharePoint, so of course SRKK been all this while been Microsoft house, and we are doing a lot of integrations and development on Microsoft platforms. And of course, these are some of the options if you are looking into. So these are pre-built integrations whereby in terms of CRM, there's a Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, and even if let's say you are looking at the productivity suites, it's like Office 365 G Suites. And ERP, these are all the available SAP, yep, and success factors. So all this, and cloud storage is on the Drive and Dropbox box. So these are all the capabilities on the integration part. So there's more than a 350 out of the box connector. So whereby this SharePoint part also one of the connector that you could able to integrate it, and then you also leveraging on a SharePoint workflow to route the documents from the folder to another folder, and to obtain the approval as well. Then it comes to the next level is on the Docusign to basically go through a workflow and get the documents to be officially signed off. So this is the end-to-end that you could able to experience throughout that. And I'll just wrap it up on these are some of the customer success that because SLKK and also Docusign have been working very closely in supporting our customers and get the adoptions been done. And of course, we always start at the first step is to design all your blueprint by going to your use cases and scenarios that you will be facing from day to day, and how you're going to transform into a digitally, and whereby in deployment part is definitely with our support in Malaysia and also the Docusign principal support. So we are able to give you a really comprehensive kind of service. And on the support and self-service, definitely we will have support teams that help you on the adoptions. And basically, we will also do a knowledge transfer and also some adoption training to just get your internals to be champions and to achieve the end of the results. So these are some of the methodologies that we will practice for all these adoptions that we provide to customers. And these are some of the reference that in ASEAN. So Docusign have provide all these their platforms to the customers. So basically, you can see these are the top brands that are the key customers for the Docusign, and they've been using it. So they are like express company, telco, and there's those e-commerce platforms, banking industry. So, and also even there are some of the law firms been using it. So it's definitely is a established platforms been recognized by the enterprises throughout the ASEAN, even that worlds that even they have. Yeah. So come back to here is more on the project and developments that we've been done for all our customers. So these are some of the reference that we done a deployment for the SharePoint, and even like we focus a lot like Microsoft Direction on the Power Platforms, on the Power BI, Power Forms, Power Automates. Those are the capability that you can look into a SharePoint. Of course, now we have another on Docusign, which is an add-on on top of the SharePoint to complete the whole process. So otherwise, if you only put it on the SharePoint, it will be just a file repository in order for you to keep the documents and amend the document. End of the day, that you still have to print it out and sign it on the handwriting, and this is basically that's usually that you will practice. And now with the add-on of the DocuSign, and you're able to complete the whole process in a digitally. These are some of our contact details that you can reach out to us. So if let's say you are not our existing customers, or if you are, then you can always reach out to our account managers who handling your account, or even you can contact directly to our business application consulting team, Patrick or Pam over here. Yeah. And this is basically some of our social media. So feel free to follow our page, and we will share more info with you throughout the times that you follow our page. So YouTube and Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah. And so once again, thank you so much to everyone. So we shall end the sessions here. So thank you so much for your attendance to present this our webinar today.